Ladies and gentlemen, the difference between people who win and those who merely wish they did, it's not talent, it's not even timing, it's attitude. The right attitude turns storms into stepping stones and obstacles into opportunities. Now, let me say this. A winning attitude isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. It's a garden. And if you don't plant it, weeds will grow. If you don't tend it, negativity will creep in. So today, I want to give you 6 simple methods to cultivate that winning attitude. The kind of attitude that opens doors, overcomes delays, and turns them maybe into absolutely. You've got to stand guard at the door of your mind every single day. What you allow in will shape how you think, how you act, and how you feel. If you fill your mind with garbage, don't be surprised when everything stinks. Your mood, your decisions, your results. The mind is like a factory. It produces based on the raw materials you give it. So be selective. Start your day with something that feeds you. Read 10 pages of a good book. Not just any book, but one that stretches your thinking, sharpens your vision, or strengthens your character. 10 pages a day doesn't sound like much, but over a year, that's 3,650 pages, and that's the difference between drifting and direction. Listen to ideas that challenge you. Wisdom doesn't always shout, sometimes it whispers. But if your ears are full of noise, you'll miss the message. Cut down the time you spend on mindless entertainment and increase the time you spend learning something useful. There's a world of knowledge out there, but it won't chase you. You've got to go get it. What you feed your mind shows up in your language. It shows up in your habits. It shows up in how you deal with people and problems. If you're feeding your mind consistently with truth, perspective, and encouragement, you start to see things differently. Challenges don't scare you as much. Fear doesn't stick as long. You start responding with clarity instead of reacting with emotion. And here's the key. Don't just do it once in a while. Make it a ritual. Just like you don't eat one good meal and call yourself healthy, you can't feed your mind one time and expect lasting change. It's the daily discipline that creates the long-term difference. Small doses of the right information over time build a mindset that's unshakable. If you'll feed your mind with purpose, your life will follow the same path. Because the stronger the mind, the better the choices, and the better the choices, the better the results. Gratitude is a powerful tool, my friend. It's one of those things that can radically shift your mindset and ultimately change your life. You see, life will throw its challenges at you, and it'll do it without warning. You'll face disappointment, setbacks, and sometimes even failure. But here's the thing. How you choose to respond to those challenges is what separates the successful from those who just get by. When you're stuck in the middle of tough times, it's easy to let negativity creep in. You start focusing on everything that's wrong, the things you don't have, the opportunities that seem lost, the circumstances that don't seem to be in your favor. And before you know it, that negative thinking takes hold. But here's where you have power. You get to decide if you'll dwell in gloom or choose gratitude. Choosing gratitude doesn't mean you ignore the difficulties. It doesn't mean pretending that everything is perfect. What it means is choosing to focus on what's good, right, and possible, even when everything else seems to be falling apart. There's always something to be grateful for. A kind word, a helping hand, an opportunity to grow. Gratitude shifts your perspective. And when you can see the good in any situation, it opens your mind to the possibilities that are right in front of you. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Gratitude isn't just a feeling you wait for. It's something you can actively choose, day in and day out. It's about training your mind to look for the positive instead of the negative. It's about conditioning yourself to be thankful for what you have, no matter how small, rather than fixating on what you don't have. This kind of mindset doesn't just make you feel better in the moment. It makes you better equipped to handle life's challenges. When you're grateful, you approach problems with a different attitude. Instead of feeling defeated, you feel empowered. Instead of complaining about what's going wrong, you look for the lesson, the opportunity, the growth that can come from the experience. And here's the kicker. Gratitude is contagious. When you choose to focus on the good, people around you start to feel that energy. They start to see the possibilities too. Your attitude becomes a magnet for positive change, and soon, your life starts to reflect the very mindset you've chosen to cultivate. So don't wait for the world to give you a reason to be grateful. Take charge, look around, find something, anything to be thankful for, and let that gratitude grow. It'll change the way you think, the way you act, and the way you show up in the world. When you choose gratitude over gloom, you're not just changing your mindset, you're changing your destiny. You've heard it before, but it bears repeating. You become like the people you spend the most time with. The attitudes, the habits, the mindset of the people around you, they rub off on you. And whether you like it or not, it's happening every single day. So let me ask you this, who are you hanging around? Because it's critical. If you're hanging around people who aren't going anywhere, guess what? Neither are you. You see, it's easy to fall into the trap of just blending in, of spending time with people who are comfortable, who don't challenge you. But comfort never got anyone to the top. Mediocrity never lifted anyone higher. If you want to go places, if you want to win, you've got to surround yourself with winners. Winners think differently, act differently, and here's the key, they bring out the best in you. Now, I'm not saying you have to ditch everyone who isn't a superstar. What I am saying is this. If you're serious about your goals, you need to intentionally spend more time with people who elevate you, people who push you, people who expect more of you than you expect of yourself. You need people in your life who see potential in you that you might not even see in yourself. Think about it. When you spend time with people who are constantly striving for more, who have high standards and an unshakable belief in themselves, their attitude becomes contagious. They pull you up. They don't tolerate excuses. They don't settle for mediocrity. And they sure as heck don't wait for the perfect conditions. They act. They hustle. They innovate. And being around that energy, that drive, will make you do the same. But if you spend all your time around people who are constantly complaining, making excuses, and settling for less, guess what's going to happen? You'll start to see life through their lens. You'll start adopting their limiting beliefs, their pessimism, and before long, you'll be stuck in the same rut they are, wondering why you can't break free. You see, people's beliefs and attitudes are powerful forces. They either lift you up or drag you down. If you want to rise, you've got to get around people who are already where you want to be, or at least heading in that direction. Get around people who have a growth mindset, who are learning, growing, and getting better. Their habits, their actions, their mindset will start to shape yours in ways you can't even imagine. Don't waste time with people who think small, who limit themselves, or who are stuck in the past. Get around people who are constantly growing, who are reaching for bigger goals, who are challenging themselves to be better every single day. Those are the people who will help you become the best version of yourself. Those are the people who will make you think bigger, act bolder, and reach higher. And here's the truth. It's not just about the people you hang around. It's about who they make you become. If you want to win, you've got to raise your standards. And that starts by raising the caliber of people you spend time with. Find winners, learn from them, be inspired by them, and then go out and do the same for others. Because when you surround yourself with winners, you can't help but become one. It's easy to get overwhelmed by the big picture. You set a massive goal for yourself. You want to be successful. You want to build something great. You want to achieve more than you've ever dreamed. And while that's admirable, it can also be paralyzing. You look at the size of the goal and think, how in the world am I ever going to get there? But here's the secret. You don't need to figure it all out at once. You don't need to take on the whole mountain in one jump. You just need to take one step at a time. The key to accomplishing big things is setting small daily goals, small goals that are within reach today. When you set small goals, you break down the larger vision into manageable pieces, and you give yourself a clear, actionable path. It's those daily wins, those small steps forward that build momentum, and momentum is what drives success. Now, I'm not saying your long-term goal isn't important. It absolutely is. But without daily action, those dreams will just remain dreams. It's the small tasks, the consistent effort that lead to extraordinary results over time. Don't focus on the whole staircase. Focus on the first step, then focus on the next step, and then the next. Before you know it, you've climbed the entire staircase without even realizing it. Start each day by setting a goal that you can achieve. It doesn't need to be a monumental task. It could be something as simple as writing 500 words, making 3 phone calls, or spending 15 minutes learning something new. The point is, you're moving forward. You're taking action. And action, no matter how small, is what leads to progress. Here's the beauty of it. Each small goal you achieve builds your confidence. You start the day feeling good about what you've accomplished, and that positive feeling carries into the next task. And as you accumulate these small wins, you begin to see results. Those results inspire you to set bigger goals, and the cycle continues. Small steps lead to big results, but only if you start taking those steps every single day. Another important thing to remember is that small goals don't just keep you busy, they keep you focused. You can't afford to get distracted. Life is full of noise, full of distractions that pull you away from what matters. When you've got a small goal in front of you, it keeps your attention on what's important. It helps you avoid getting sidetracked by things that don't align with your purpose. And let's not forget the power of consistency. It's not about doing everything in one giant leap. It's about showing up every single day and doing something, no matter how small, that moves you closer to your goal. If you keep showing up, keep doing the work, even on the tough days, success will follow. It's that consistency, that daily effort that separates the dreamers from the achievers. So make it a habit. Make setting small, achievable goals a daily ritual. Don't wait for inspiration to strike. Inspiration is found in action. Every day is an opportunity to move closer to your dream, but only if you set the right goals, take the right steps, and keep your focus locked in. The more you do this, the more you'll realize big success isn't built overnight. It's built one small, focused step at a time. And as long as you keep taking those steps, you're on your way. Failure. It's a word that most people fear, but here's the reality. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a part of success. Every successful person you admire, every individual who's achieved great things has faced failure. It's inevitable. But the key to success isn't avoiding failure. It's learning how to use failure as fuel for growth. You see, failure isn't a dead end. It's not something to be ashamed of or to run from. It's a lesson. And when you start seeing failure for what it truly is, feedback, that's when everything changes. Failure is a course correction. It's a message that tells you this approach didn't work, but that doesn't mean you're done. In fact, it's the exact opposite. It means you're still in the game and you've got another chance to figure it out. The problem is most people look at failure and take it personally. They think, sin, I fail, I'm a failure. But that couldn't be further from the truth. You failed at something, that's all. It doesn't define who you are. It's just a moment in time. The key is not to let that moment define your future. Instead, take it for what it is, an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to adjust. The greatest minds and achievers in history didn't achieve greatness without failing along the way. What set them apart wasn't their ability to avoid failure. It was their ability to bounce back stronger, wiser, and more determined after each setback. They looked at failure and said, what did I learn from this? What can I do better next time? They turned failure into feedback. They analyzed it. They used it to adjust their approach. And most importantly, they didn't quit. When you fail, and you will, because failure is a part of life, don't throw in the towel. Don't let frustration or disappointment take over. Instead, step back and ask yourself, what can I take from this? What did I miss? What can I improve? Every failure carries valuable lessons. It teaches you something about what doesn't work, and it helps you fine-tune your strategy for success. And this process of fine-tuning, of getting better, is what leads to real progress. In fact, every failure you encounter is one step closer to the success you're aiming for. Why? Because each failure gives you information. It gives you a clue. It gives you the data you need to make better decisions next time. So rather than fearing failure, embrace it. Understand that it's a part of the process, an essential part of the journey. But here's the catch. You can't let failure keep you down. You've got to get back up, take that feedback, and adjust. Don't let your failures define you. Let them refine you. Keep moving forward. Use what you've learned to sharpen your skills, to improve your approach, and to get closer to your goal. And when you do this, when you flip every failure into feedback, you'll find that failure no longer holds power over you. Instead, it becomes a powerful tool in your hands, one that can propel you forward faster than you ever thought possible. So next time you face a setback, don't be discouraged. Don't see it as a sign that you're not cut out for success. See it as an opportunity. Take a moment to reflect, to learn, and to grow. Use that feedback to adjust your course and keep moving toward your goal. The road to success isn't a straight line. It's filled with bumps, detours, and obstacles. But if you're willing to learn from each failure and keep going, you'll eventually reach your destination. And when you do, you'll look back at all those failures and see them not as obstacles, but as stepping stones on the path to greatness. The words you speak are powerful, my friend. More than just sounds or sentences, they shape your thoughts, your actions, and your reality. When you speak, you're not just expressing what's going on in your mind, you're creating the path for what will happen next. Your words either move you closer to your goals or hold you back. And this is why you must speak victory, not defeat. You see, the world doesn't always hand you what you want. It doesn't always give you the perfect situation or the right conditions to succeed. But here's what I know for sure. The way you speak, the language you use, will either empower you or weaken you. If you speak defeat, guess what? You're going to feel defeated. If you speak struggle and limitation, you're going to see nothing but obstacles. Your words create a filter through which you view the world, and that filter influences your decisions, your attitudes, and ultimately, your results. That's why you must start speaking victory into your life. I'm not talking about empty affirmations or pretending everything is perfect. No, I'm talking about speaking the truth of what you can become, not what you are at this very moment. Speaking victory is about aligning your words with your aspirations, with the person you're becoming, not just the person you've been. When you face challenges, speak with determination. When things aren't going your way, speak with resolve. Even when doubt creeps in, speak with confidence. Don't talk about the struggle as if it's a permanent state. Talk about the lessons you're learning, the progress you're making, and the resilience you're developing. Even when things are tough, speak as though you're already winning, because every word you speak is setting the stage for your next move. Understand this, your mind is listening to what you say. Your subconscious is constantly absorbing the messages you send. So when you speak defeat, when you say, can't do this, or this is too hard, your mind believes it. Starts to reinforce those ideas. It creates a narrative that limits you. But when you speak victory, when you say, I'm figuring this out, learning, I'm going to get better, your mind starts to look for solutions. It begins to support the belief that you can and will overcome. The power of your words extends beyond just self-talk. It's about how you communicate with others. If you're surrounded by people who speak defeat all the time, who are always complaining or making excuses, that energy starts to infect you. But when you're around people who speak victory, who talk about possibilities, growth, and progress, that energy becomes contagious. You start believing in what's possible for you because the people around you are reinforcing that belief. Now, this isn't about denying reality. It's about framing it in a way that empowers you. There's always a way forward, always a lesson to learn, always a solution to find. The language you use will either keep you stuck in a place of helplessness or propel you forward with clarity and confidence. So, what are you saying to yourself today? Are you speaking words of victory or defeat? Are you talking about your challenges as obstacles that will hold you down, or are you framing them as opportunities to grow and evolve? Are you saying I can't, or are you saying we'll figure it out? The way you speak is the way you live. Speak victory. Speak possibility. Speak growth. Even when things aren't perfect, especially when things aren't perfect, speak as though success is inevitable. Because the more you speak victory, the more your mind, your actions, and your circumstances will align with it. The language you use will guide you, shape your reality, and lead you to the success you're meant to have. And that's the power of speaking victory. Your attitude is like a garden. It's fertile ground. And what you plant in it determines the quality of your life. If you're planting seeds of positivity, of hope, of gratitude, then you're cultivating an environment that will bear fruit. But if you're planting seeds of negativity, resentment, and doubt, then you're nurturing a garden that will yield nothing but weeds. Just like a garden needs care, attention, and intentional effort to thrive, so does your attitude. If you're not actively planting the right seeds, you're allowing things to grow by default. And let me tell you, the weeds grow fast. You don't have to nurture negative thoughts or poor habits. They'll come naturally if you're not careful. But the good things, the seeds of success, the habits that lead to greatness, they require work, attention, and time. If you wake up every morning with a negative outlook, expecting the worst, that's exactly what you'll get. Your mind is like fertile soil. Whatever you plant in it, it'll grow. If you plant doubt and fear, you'll see nothing but missed opportunities and roadblocks. Your attitude will become a reflection of the negative seeds you've been feeding it. But if you plant hope, optimism, and faith in yourself, your results will begin to mirror that belief. You'll start to notice opportunities you hadn't seen before. Your relationships will improve. Your efforts will start to pay off. Now, the thing about a garden is this. You can't just plant seeds and then forget about them. You need to nurture them. You need to water them. You need to tend to them, pull out the weeds, and make sure they have what they need to grow. Your attitude is the same. You can't plant a good thought or a good habit today and expect it to flourish tomorrow without consistent care. It takes time to grow the right mindset, just like it takes time for a seed to become a plant. If you leave a garden untended, what happens? Weeds take over. It's the same with your mind. If you're not careful, if you're not intentional about what you allow to take root, negativity will creep in. It can start small, a little doubt here, a little frustration there. But if you leave it unchecked, it grows. And soon it'll be hard to see the good seeds you've planted because the weeds have overtaken them. This is why you've got to be vigilant. You've got to be proactive in managing your thoughts, your attitude, and the environment around you. If you want a garden of success, abundance, and positivity, you have to keep planting the right seeds every single day. You have to water them, nurture them, and protect them from the weeds of negativity that will try to sneak in. And just like with a garden, there will be seasons, there will be times when things aren't growing as fast as you'd like. There will be moments when the weather is tough, when things seem slow. But that doesn't mean you stop planting. It doesn't mean you give up on your dreams. The seasons of struggle are just that, seasons. They will pass. But the seeds you're planting now, the attitude you're cultivating, will determine how well you thrive when things improve. Remember, what you ignore rots. If you ignore your attitude, if you neglect the thoughts you allow to take root in your mind, you're letting the weeds grow. But if you're intentional, if you're conscious of the seeds you're planting, the beliefs, the thoughts, the habits, you'll see your garden flourish. And when you look back, you'll realize that the quality of your life is directly tied to the quality of your attitude. So, what's growing in your garden today? Are you planting seeds that will yield success, peace, and fulfillment? Or are you allowing negativity and doubt to take root? The choice is yours, but remember, your attitude is your garden, and what you plant will grow. Choose wisely. What you feed your mind is just as important as what you feed your body. We all know that in order to grow physically, we need the right nutrients. But what about mental growth? Mental strength isn't something that happens by accident. It's something you build every single day through the things you read, the things you listen to, and the people you surround yourself with. You see, the mind is like a sponge. It absorbs everything around it. And just like you wouldn't eat junk food for every meal, you shouldn't let your mind consume junk either. If you constantly expose yourself to negativity, to shallow thoughts, to the same old stories, that's exactly what you'll get, a shallow, weak, limited mindset. But if you make it a habit to feed your mind with powerful, enriching, and thought-provoking material, your mind will become stronger, sharper, and more resilient. The right reading and listening habits can give you the tools you need to handle challenges, to overcome obstacles, and to succeed. It's not about just consuming information. It's about consuming the right information. Material that lifts you up, that inspires you, that teaches you new ways of thinking and new strategies for living. When you read the right books, listen to the right podcasts, or attend the right seminars, you're training your brain to think differently. You're giving it the nutrients it needs to grow. Now, some people might think, I don't have time to read or listen to something every day. But let me tell you, there is always time. The average person spends hours each day scrolling through social media or watching TV. If you can find time for that, you can certainly find time to invest in yourself. It doesn't have to be hours at a time. Even 15 minutes a day of reading or listening to something that challenges you, something that makes you think, can make a huge difference over time. You might not notice the change overnight, but don't be fooled. Small daily deposits add up. Every time you read a chapter, every time you listen to an inspiring story, every time you expose yourself to new ideas, you're building your mental muscles. You're strengthening your ability to think critically, to handle setbacks, and to navigate through life's challenges with a greater sense of purpose and clarity. One of the most powerful things about reading and listening to the right material is that it expands your vision. When you're exposed to ideas and concepts that are outside of your current experience, it opens your mind to new possibilities. Suddenly, the world doesn't look so small. Your own potential doesn't seem so limited. You start to see new opportunities, new ways to solve problems, and new ways to achieve your goals. But it's not just about gaining knowledge. It's about applying that knowledge. Every time you read something, you should ask yourself, how can I apply this to my life? What change can I make based on what I just learned? Because information is useless if it's not put into action. And when you consistently put what you learn into practice, you begin to see the transformation. Building mental strength doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. And the more you choose to feed your mind with the right material, the stronger you'll become. Over time, you'll find that you're more confident, more resilient, and more equipped to handle whatever life throws at you. You'll have a wealth of wisdom to draw from, not just from your own experiences, but from the experiences of others who have gone before you. You'll learn from their successes and mistakes, and that will make you smarter, faster, and more capable. So, what are you reading? What are you listening to? What material are you exposing your mind to on a daily basis? If it's not moving you forward, it's holding you back. Make the decision today to invest in your mental strength. Pick up a good book. Listen to a podcast that challenges your thinking. Every time you do, you're laying the foundation for a stronger, better version of yourself. And that is the real power of daily reading and listening. It's the power to shape your mind, to shape your future, and to shape your destiny.